guys, it's Alyssa LaScala here, and tonight we're going to be talking about ketogenic diets. This is a very low-carb diet that has had a lot of buzz around it in the one weight loss and detox group that I'm a member of. There's a lot of people, making comments, asking questions of, have you tried the ketogenic diet? Have you seen success with it? When are you the type of person that should incorporate this type of diet or give it a try? And so I thought, hey, let's address this. Let's help people to understand what the benefits of a very low-carb diet would be, or if it's something that may not be for you. So first, guys, I want to tell you what exactly a ketogenic diet is. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with it, a ketogenic diet is a very, very low-carb diet. So there are all different types of diets that maybe do have lower carbs. Hey, Marilee, thanks for joining. Hey, Ruth. But this one specifically is 20 grams or less. The original ketogenic diet is 20 grams or less, which if you count that out into calories, it's about 80 calories of carbohydrates, so it's very, very low, guys. But the focus here is to get the rest of your calories from fats and maybe from a little bit of protein. However, the ketogenic diet is trying to get you into this state, this bodily state called ketosis. And what happens with ketosis is that your body starts to use its own fat as a fuel source. So you can see why this would be pretty intriguing to people. The Atkins diet is probably the best known or the most well-known low-carb diet. It does differ from a ketogenic diet a little bit because the ketogenic diet really focuses and emphasizes healthy fat sources, and it doesn't allow processed meats, so like, bacon, things like that. Those are okay on the Atkins diet. A ketogenic diet, it's not allowed there, and they have a lot lower protein on the ketogenic diet. But if you get your body to go into ketosis, it's because your carb intake is so low that it starts to burn fat as a fuel source. You see, guys, our bodies naturally want to burn glucose. They want to burn carbs and sugars. That's its primary focus, to be able to give your body energy. But when that's not there anymore, when there's nothing left over, it starts to tap into fat. And so people had started using this as a technique to be able to lose weight because you start using your own fat as a fuel source, and you're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. But there are pros and cons to both sides. And so I want you guys to understand both before you go and implement this, because it is one of the more challenging diet techniques, okay? So when it comes to the pros of trying a ketogenic diet, the first one would be if you are someone that needs to sensitize your insulin levels. So if you are someone that's like a pre-diabetic, if you are a type 2 diabetic, if you're someone that is more insulin resistant, I've had a couple clients that have PCOS or have very high insulin resistance. That's something that we would play around with, but this is something that you absolutely would want to pass on to your doctor if you are on insulin, because if you start changing the amount of carbs and sugars you're taking in, you may have to adjust your insulin intake as well. So just a disclaimer there, if you do have diabetes, or if you're pre-diabetic or have trouble with your blood glucose, you want to talk to your doctor about that before you go making these changes. However, it is helpful to be able to sensitize someone's insulin levels, to be able to help control cravings and things like that throughout the day. And then one of the other benefits, well, this could be a pro or it could be a con for some people, is a decrease in volume of food. So overall, guys, if you're having less carbs and you're having more fat sources to be able to make up the rest of those calories, guys, fats are more dense. So if you're looking at a gram of fat and then you're looking at a gram of carbohydrates, a gram of fat is about 9 calories. A gram of carbs or protein is going to be about 4. So you can see how you can get a lot more calories in without having to eat as much food when you're using fat sources. So that can be good for some people. I know some people that have gotten, gastric bypass surgery. Their stomachs are a lot smaller, but if they're trying to get in the same amount of food and they want to get in the same amount of calories, they may go for fat sources. Some people that don't have as much time in the day to be able to eat, they need to get something really quick, maybe they'll go for a protein and then fat sources because they need to get those calories in, but they just don't have the time to eat the volume that they would need from other carbohydrate sources. And it's not to say that you can't get a lot of volume from maybe vegetables. Like you could eat a lot of kale or spinach or carrots and other vegetable sources in order to be able to fill yourself up and to be able to create that volume on a ketogenic diet. But guys, you have to remember, any type of a vegetable, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for a lot of people to break down. It can lead to a lot of gastrointestinal distress or gastrointestinal inflammation, irritation for people that have difficulty, especially breaking down the fibers of vegetables. So especially if you're taking in more vegetables, maybe trying to cook more of them than having some of them raw. And then the last pro that I would really think of, and to Carrie, Christina, I know you say you love your carbs. I love my carbs too, trust me. But the last pro that you may want to take into consideration, guys, is that any type of carbohydrate breaks down into sugar. Sugar is known to cause inflammation. Inflammation leads to disease. So, you know, indirectly or directly, honestly, however you want to look at it, every doctor gives you a different type of opinion or story, is that having carbohydrates, having sugars could put you more at risk for certain diseases such as cancer. Cancer feeds off of sugar, things like that. Guys, take it or leave it when it comes to that one, but it's just a point that I wanted to put out there. But when it comes to the cons, because this is the ones that I like to highlight a little bit more to people, because these are the things that may be obstacles for you wanting to incorporate this type of diet, is thinking about, first of all, less volume of food. For a lot of people it is, because like I said, fat sources are more dense. So for me, I love my carbs, I love my food, I'm a total foodie, I love to eat. So having something where most of the time I'm eating less unless I'm using more vegetable sources, I just don't really like that. It's just not my style. And like I said earlier in my Diet Myth Monday this week, if you can time more of like your proteins and your fats in the beginning of the day and then do your carbs and your proteins later in the day, you can kind of get, maybe a little bit of a lower carb diet, but it doesn't need to be completely keto. Hey Sherry, thanks for joining. Another thing, a con for you could be that it is lower in volume. Lower in volume, lower in carbs in general is going to be something that is harder for a lot of people to stay compliant to. So if you are someone that has your comfort foods, guys, a lot of comfort foods are carbohydrate based. There's a different type of endocrine balance. There's a hormonal reaction when we have carbs in our system. So some people, it's very, very difficult for them to never have any carbs. Amanda, I know that you said the keto diet is about how your body is fueled more than about its calories. Yeah, absolutely. It's just the type of fuel that you're using in order to create the same amount of calories is clearly where it's different. So the ketogenic diet, yes, exactly like I said earlier, is going to come mostly from fat sources, incorporating in a little bit of carbs and then protein to make up the rest. So guys, everybody's body reacts differently to the fuel source that is used. Some people have a great amount of energy when they're tapping into fat sources. Some people do very well with carbs. Guys, the last thing I want you to think about as a con for if you're doing a ketogenic diet would be if you are someone that works out a lot. Now, it's not to say that you cannot do a keto diet or any type of low carb diet if you are someone that lifts or that works out. But what you want to think about is that fat sources are a vasoconstrictor. So what I mean by that is vaso is, for veins, okay? It's what your blood pumps through. So if you're taking in fats and it's constricting your veins, you're not able to get as much blood through there. If you're taking in carbohydrates, which expand your veins, it's a vasodilator, then you can get more blood through those veins to be able to get to your muscles, to be able to get to your organs, to be able to improve performance. So what you want to be conscious of if you decide to do a ketogenic diet, but you are someone that's really focusing on performance as far as workouts go, or even just energy in your workouts, just be aware that fat sources are constricting your veins more than carbohydrates would expand your veins. So I know for me, I was very conscious about, okay, what do I feel like when I have carb sources before my workout, during my workout, after my workout? What do I feel like when I have fat sources in there? I feel a huge difference if I do not have carbs before, during, and after my workout, because I'm not getting as much blood to the muscles that I'm putting higher demands on, and so I'm not getting as great of results. That is me. There are so many people out there. I know there are many athletes that, they'll be like, I get a great type of workout on, a vegan or a vegetarian diet. I get a great workout when I'm on the keto diet. Guys, everybody is different. The important part is here, I just wanted you to understand the pros and the cons. Everybody is different. The important part and what your role is to be conscious about these changes. If you go and make these changes, don't just do it for craps and giggles, because I can't say the S word on Facebook, but don't just do it just because it's the next fad. Do it because maybe it's something that could help you feel better, that could give you more energy, and then go and be conscious of how you're feeling. Take note. And I will tell you that honestly, within the first week or two, you are probably going to feel a little bit more like crap. There are a lot of people that get what's called the ketogenic flu. So you'll feel more fatigued, you'll probably be moody, some people get constipated, some people get, a little irritable, they don't sleep as well. But a lot of times it's just because your body needs to sensitize its insulin levels. It needs to start to balance. It's trying to balance those hormones. So if you can endure through and, get through that first week or two, you may be able to feel great benefits from that. But you want to push through long enough to even feel the results. But guys, honestly, with almost any type of diet, when you start to go on there's a lot of times within the first week or two that you're going to want to quit. Because no matter what, you are starting to sensitize these insulin levels and your body needs to balance itself out. So whether it's the ketogenic diet or you're carb cycling or you're going into some type of, pescatarian or vegan or whatever it may be, guys, you just have to really pay attention to how you're feeling. You have to endure through and let your body balance itself out before you make a choice of whether it's working for you or not. Don't do it for 2 days and be like, this doesn't work. Well, no, nothing works in 2 days. You really have to see how your body reacts. So I know, Amanda, you said that you started with the Bulletproof Coffee this week and you feel so clear-minded. There are so many people that find very great improvements neurologically. They see a decrease in brain fog when they start a ketogenic diet because their body is working a lot better using fat as a fuel source. It really depends on you guys, but take the personal responsibility to take note of how you feel. After each meal, how did I feel after that? When did my brain fog start, going in? How long have I been on this? Has it even been a week yet? To see if it's beneficial for you guys. So, especially with this being a hormonal reset month, and I know the group that I was talking about, we were talking a lot about how insulin levels and everything goes along with the ketogenic diet. Just make sure that you're taking the personal responsibility of taking note of how you feel and give it long enough to know whether you're having results with it or not. So, hope you guys got some benefits from this. If there were any questions that were asked, I'll make sure that I comment on them after this is done. If any of you guys are watching the recording later, feel free to go ahead and post comments below and I'm happy to answer. And if you're wondering if this would be best for you and you feel like sending me a message, I'd absolutely love to help you, just kind of talk about where your health history is and see if this is something that could possibly be a good option for you. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good night and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.